Greetings, everybody. This is Sharif Madavi with another episode of Pep Talk. Today we are coming live from Pleasanton, California and Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania. I'm just so pleased to have Jason Bloom with me. Jason is a facial plastic surgeon, and we share something very important in common. We are both alumni of the University of Michigan. So from one fellow Wolverine to another, welcome, Jason. So good to have you today.
Well, thanks for having me. Definitely go blue, man. This is exciting.
Go blue, and that you have a spinning winged helmet in your camera shot is just making my day, and we haven't even gotten started yet.
I mean, listen, I grew up, I'm a Michigander. I grew up there. I went to Michigan for my undergrad, for my medical school. I met my wife there who went there for undergrad and law school. So I bleed blue.
That's so great. That's so great. Well, how did you choose facial plastic surgery?
You know, interestingly, it blends some of the things that I love best. So actually at Michigan, I was a biopsychology major. You said you were a psychology major. And then my minor, I was a history of art minor. And then when I went after medical school, I went to, so I love art and I have a huge appreciation for art. I have tons of works in my office that have been made by local artists in my area. And then after medical school, I did a head and neck surgery residency at the University of Pennsylvania. And I really loved the head and neck anatomy. That was like super complex. And I thought I was going to do these big reconstructions. And then when I found facial plastics, I thought, wow, what a great way to combine my love of art and aesthetics and the head and neck anatomy. And it kind of like really came full circle from my undergrad training to my residency. And then I went up to New York University, NYU in New York City, and did a fellowship. So it's additional training in facial plastic and reconstructive surgery.
Awesome. I love hearing these stories about how people found their passion.
Yeah.
Okay, you were telling me in our prep before the interview that you were with another MD, and then you left to start your own practice. How long ago was that? And talk a little bit about what you learned when you put your own name on the door.
Yeah, so fresh out of fellowship, really, I joined a dermatologist, and the interesting thing was he didn't do general dermatology. He was a laser specialist, and he works not far, and I was with him for 8 years, and he used to joke that I did everything that caused blood or smoke, right? So all of the really ablative lasers, all of the injections, and all of the surgery. And just, I think, in the back of patients' heads when they were, I was a surgeon. I was busy surgically. I had a large injection patient base as well, doing cosmetic injectables. But I think in the back of patients' minds, they were like, wait, I'm getting my surgery at this laser center. And there was a little bit of a disconnect in terms of the brand. My facial plastic surgery brand was, I think, a little bit diluted because when I opened up my own office, my private office in Bryn Mawr, now like 6 months ago, my surgeries went like tripled. The amount of surgery, because the brand is undiluted. They understand Bloom facial plastic surgery. That's where they're coming for their surgery and or cosmetic treatments. But there was no question. They got it. And that has been, I'm a kind of a branding like person. I happen to have like an interesting last name. So like everything, like my logo is a bloom, is a flower. If you see me give presentations on a national or international level, or even see me in the office, I mean, I wear a flower on my lapel every single day. That's like my thing. And I've had CEOs, people who had never met me, but will come up to me in an elevator and it's like, are you at like conferences? And they're like, are you Dr. Bloom? I was like, yeah, how'd you know? They're like, I saw your flower lapel. It's something that triggers that bloom. It triggers something in their minds that it just, they get it.
Well, you learned a valuable lesson, right, about branding, and you had your own kind of before and after study to prove it to
Totally.
yourself. And you know, in hindsight, it's obvious, but it probably wasn't obvious at the time. And you were at, was it called Mainline Surgery Center or something like that,
Yeah,
right?
it was a mainline center for laser surgery.
Yeah. Okay.
So that was at the previous practice, that was the main thing because that was his practice. I joined.
Yep. Got it. So this was September just of the last year, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
So here we are. You're not even 6 months, and your world changes immediately and amazingly. So what'd you do? What have you done in the practice? What's it like today? What are the steps you had to take just to kind of pivot?
Yeah, so interestingly, yes, this is a fantastic time to open up an aesthetic surgery practice. Let me tell you, 6 months in, and I mean, honestly, like I am totally about safety, and I mean, ever since March 13th was the last day I was in the OR, and then I came back to my office and was talking to my staff and the girls here, and I said, you know, we got to shut it down. It's just we just don't know what's going on. And so that was the last day that I was in, you know, in my office. I'm here today because my wife is home. She's a lawyer. She's working from home. My kids are doing virtual learning. I need to just get to my office is like a ghost town right now, but I need to just go in. I usually go in like 2 days a week just to like get some stuff done. But yeah, we're totally closed down. I'm right now planning for what's going to happen in the reopening, which I'm hoping potentially the end of May, early June. Certainly all of my surgeries have been canceled by the hospital up until June 1st. So, you know, there's a bunch of things that we're doing. I'm writing protocols. I'm having, you know, weekly Zoom conversations with my staff in a like more of a light manner, just because, you know, just to keep them involved. We've applied for and received small business loans, the payroll protection program loan. And I'm figuring out things that we can do to better the practice from home, like, you know, updating the website, updating our social media, keeping a presence, not ignoring what's going on. Certainly, we want to make sure we address it. But yeah, I mean, I've now going through some more, you know, protective stuff in how we're going to see patients from the next level.
Yes.
You know, when things open.
Well, and it's going to change. And other doctors I've interviewed talk about, you know, the ability to use telemedicine, particularly on the front end. And as a facial plastic surgeon, how does that work for you?
So interestingly, I've been doing like Zoom consults for I would say over almost a year and a half, 2 years. It's interesting because about just over, you know, a little bit over a year and a half ago, I did a rhinoplasty or nose job on a famous YouTuber, and she put it all out there. And the interesting thing was, after that, like, I mean, it was, I didn't really realize the power of like social media until that happened, because the following week, when she took off her splint and put it out to her followers, like, this is my new nose, like, I woke up the next morning after she had posted that, and the video had been seen 1.7 million times in 12 hours. And so people were coming out of the woodwork, like, I want you to do my nose, all this stuff. And I've since had patients come in from, you know, from Europe, from Hawaii, from California, from all over. And so there's not an easy way to initially do that other than, you know, we meet over Zoom. And so I would do that for a primary first-time rhinoplasty. I could get a good sense of what was going on. The patient would come in the day before. I would evaluate them, obviously, in my office.
Yes.
We would go to surgery, and then they would stay 5 to 8 days and then go back. And I could follow up with them, you know, with, you know, emails, photos, having, you know, Skype, FaceTime chats.
So you were doing this prior to COVID. You were kind of moving in that direction. In fact, medicine was moving in that direction. It's just you know, it took a pandemic to kind of, take it over the edge and get critical mass. And now I was just seeing some data this morning, 85% of patients in a recent Gertner survey are saying they won't choose that doctor unless telemedicine is available. And 45%, nearly half the patients have canceled appointments, just in the near term. Completely understandable. As you said, safety of patients, safety of your team becomes paramount.
Yeah.
This is so, you learn, branding lesson more recently, the power of social media. I'm just amazed that some doctors still don't have websites, and it just doesn't make sense to me. But that's one of the things that we talk about in the book. And you said, you've gotten the book. Thank you so much for being willing to be an advanced reader.
I'm so excited. I mean, there's so many like great points in it that I'm going to have when we start back up. I want my office manager to read it, because it's not just. I mean, it is very far-reaching across multiple different specialties and industries, where it's just knowing how to cater to the patient, things that they want to see. And it's more of an experiential thing. I'm certainly in facial plastic surgery. So a friend of mine in Chicago, Steve Diane, had kind of coined this term, retailicin, which is really what I'm in, right? I mean, I am in retail medicine.
Yep.
I am selling myself, my services, because certainly, I'm not, this is cosmetic surgery, right? So they could go down the street if someone's offering a different experience, a different, they might like their personality better. So I'm trying to connect with my patients and I want them to have a great experience when they come in my office. I want them to connect with me when I'm talking to them during their consults. All these kind of things go towards them ultimately choosing me to provide their surgery, right? They could go, do you drink Coke or do you drink Pepsi? What kind of things bring you to one particular surgeon or one particular brand?
Well, and you've been exploring this, learning marketing on the fly, doing a good job as a med guy. And I'm gonna put you on the spot here. So is there something from the book that like really stuck out with you that you've read so far that you want to work on?
I think there's I don't know if there's one thing it's the whole message of really just learning how to make the patient experience such that they feel comfortable and they feel like they're special, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is really the key. And I think that is, that's the basis of everything I do. Like, if they don't feel like they're special or comfortable with me, my office, my staff, comfortable with feeling safe in my office now, right? And it's very interesting because, like, if we talk cosmetic injectables for a second, the previous fear was patients, their number one fear is they don't want to look odd or weird, right? Come when we open up, I think their number one fear is, I want to be safe in this guy's office.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. And so their feelings have changed about these things. So I want to create that experience where they know I'm doing everything I can to make them safe, to make them comfortable, to make their experience good.
That's awesome. That's a great way to do it. And I'm hoping the book provides plenty of content material for you and your team to work on, which is great. Enjoyed meeting you. At the end of these, we always offer, it's called Pep Talk for a reason. We offer our guests a chance to give some words of inspiration to all the doctors and all the audiences listening out there. The mic is yours.
Well, I will say that it certainly has been an interesting ride the last 6 months. And luckily that, I've had some ups and downs just kind of learning everything. But when your vision is clear and you know where you're going to be, and you see yourself in the future, and what your vision is, and you make that clear to others around you, people will jump on board and kind of follow you towards that ultimate goal. And that's, and not just from a patient perspective, but, my whole staff and the team that I've created here at my office, that was the one thing, is that when I was interviewing them even, right, I'm like, this is my vision for this practice. This is my vision for, my office. This is my vision for the team. And when they kind of glom onto that idea, then you're all working together as a team to reach that ultimate goal. And they saw my vision. I mean, because I interviewed them we had no physical building, right? We were building it. And they saw my vision, not physically, but I was able to express what I had, the vision I had for the office, and people will just kind of follow you.
Well, and that's awesome. And if doctors can take that and even work on their vision, which includes the very first insight. What business are you in? Understanding what business you're really in is so key. Jason Bloom, thank you so much for being with us. Everyone, thanks for watching. That's all the time we have today. Until next time, I'm Sharif Mahdavi. Stay safe, love your pets, and we'll see you soon.